Also, we had discussed about the pipelines, right? What is pipeline? What is the usage of the pipeline, and how we can automate the stuffs in Jenkins, right? By using by writing our own pipeline and pipeline as code. So those things we had already discussed yesterday. Today we'll see how we can write the pipeline, what is the syntax, and how we can easily write it, and what is the various way of writing the pipeline, and more on the pipelines. Okay. So today we'll discuss on that. And also, meanwhile, we'll just cover the advanced concept of the Jenkins. So let's start. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay. So last class we had seen all these right declarative versus scripted pipelines and all. So those are all of the details we had discussed. So there is a very good documentation provided by the Jenkins official page. Okay, well, they have official website. If we go to this jenkins.io book pipeline, they have given most of the things over here and how we have to write the pipeline, all the syntax and the way to express your pipeline, to automate your pipeline, everything you can find it over here. Okay, and always, whenever you are doing any automation or whenever writing any code, always to follow the documentation of the product. Okay, so Jenkins official website, they have provided the product, how to use it. Okay, what is the syntax and what are the commands, what are the things you can put in your automations, everything they have given it. I'll just go through all this, and you can follow this documentation for your future reference. But whatever I'm just teaching you or guiding you, just go through that and try to do small pipelines and automation stuff. And meanwhile, once you do that, able to do that, then you can easily do the complex things, right? The complex automations also using this pipeline. Let me give you this. Okay. So what it says, what is the Jenkins pipeline? Jenkins pipeline is a suite of plugins which supports implementing and integrating continuous delivery pipelines into Jenkins. That is what the overview they have given it. Okay, and a continuous delivery pipeline, that CD, continuous delivery, is an automated expression of your process for getting software from version control right through your users and customers. That's what they have just explained it. What I had explained you yesterday. Everything they have written it here in their own language, but whatever I had told you, I had explained more on that real time wise how it works. Okay. So what it says also, pipeline provides an extensible set of tools for modeling simple to complex delivery pipeline as code via the pipeline domain specific language, that is the DSL. So if you go here and first thing, whenever you're writing the pipeline, you have to be, as I told you, you have to write a simple text file. That is called the file name should be called a Jenkins file. Here, the file name should be as Jenkins file. Remember, J is in uppercase and Jenkins file. No extension, nothing. Simple text file. Okay. So it's very easy to write the Jenkins text file. I'll show you how to write. So before writing that one, so let me just give some other overview about the declarative and scripted pipeline. Okay. So here,
Uh, Ranjit, actually, I have a question.
yeah,
So the pipeline creation means writing a Jenkins file. That's it, right?
that's it. Yeah. Writing the Jenkins file,
Okay.
you have to write everywhere whenever you are going for any environment. For suppose you are developing something, you'll be writing some kind of code, right? Either if you're doing Java or you're writing the C++ or .NET. there will be some extension for that, right? So Java program does Java, the extension file name only for Java, and how you write the file name. It is not domain specific. It is the requirement. It's the project specific. You have to give the file name based on your requirement, based on your project, based on your module, right? It's up to you, user defined. But in this case, we don't have any extensions, but this is a domain specific, and you have to write the same file name what Jenkins needs. Okay, because the Jenkins will recognize this Jenkins file and it will create as a pipeline as a code. That means you have automated. All the codes will be
Okay.
written in Jenkins file.
Okay. Actually, the DSL means it's a domain specific language, right?
Yeah, domain specific
Uh,
language. Most of the DevOps tool, okay, it's actually based on this domain specific language. Domain specific language in the sense which domain you are working. So, because we are working for Jenkins only, right? We are working on Jenkins tool. So this Jenkins tool supports that language. That language only you have to write it. Domain specific. And if you are going for Ansible, Ansible supports different languages. Okay, Kubernetes supports different. Docker supports different. Right? So based on that, you have to write your own specific domain specific language, and it's very simple. It's very simple. Where once you understand and once you remember it, you can write whatever you want. For different tools, we have different DSL languages. It's not Java is the
okay.
common language, right? We can write any kind of code, anything using Java or Unix shell scripting. If you go for shell scripting, it is universal. You can write scripting to do any kind of automation. But with pipeline, you cannot automate Docker. You cannot automate Kubernetes, right? For Kubernetes, you have to write separate code. For Ansible, you have to write separate code.
Okay. So here, domain specific means it's only specific to Jenkins. That's what it meant.
Yeah, it's only specific to Jenkins.
Okay.
Okay, so why we need the pipeline? So Jenkins is fundamentally an automation engine which supports a number of automation patterns. Pipeline adds a powerful set of automation tools into Jenkins. It's simple. Why we need pipeline? We need whenever we require to automate the steps, right? We don't need any manual intervention, and we need to manage our automation code. We need to perform the audit. You need to perform whatever you want with the automation code, and multiple users can simultaneously work on your code. So that's why we need the pipeline and automations. Okay, pipeline as code. So what are the other things we can get? It's a code pipeline are implemented in codes. Okay. Earlier we have seen the freestyle. When the freestyle job setups, what we had seen right setting up by clicking the mouse, just selecting the options in the UI, right? The freestyle job we had set up. But here in the code, we have to in the pipeline we have to write the code. Okay. So what it gives the ability to edit, review, and iterate upon their delivery pipeline. Whatever you want, multiple conditions you can provide, you can write. Okay, all the conditions, everything you can write in the code. So durable pipeline can survive both planned and unplanned restart of the Jenkins controller. Okay, so once the code is written, it will be stored somewhere in the repository, right? So in case anything happened, in case anything happened to your Jenkins, it is restarted or anything, it is deleted, but your pipeline code will be safe in the repositories. Okay, and it is uh, what is this pausable pipeline can optionally stop and wait for a human input. Yeah, that is the parameterized stuff. I'll just show you how you can do the parameterized. Versatile, so pipeline support complex real world cd requirement, including ability to fork, join, loop, and all these things like conditions, looping, everything you can do in the complex programming also you can do it. Extensible, the pipeline plugin supports custom extensions to its DSL and multiple options for integrations with other plugins. Okay, so like the plugins we have set up in the Jenkins, manually going to the manage Jenkins and plugins. Similarly, in the pipeline code also, whatever the plugins you need to use in your automations, you can add those plugins. Okay, I'll show you. And if you see this diagram, right? Let me just increase a little bit. Okay, if you see this diagram, right? This is what the pipeline automations will be looking like. Okay, so simple things in my first DevOps diagram, I had shown you, right, how this actually works. But in Jenkins, if you see here, the first thing when we set up the freestyle job, we had given the source code management. If you remember the tab, it will be SCM, the source code management. Same things also in the pipeline. You have to mention the SCM commit, the repo branch name, whatever you want. uh, these things will be in the development side. Once you set up all these, it will be the different stages will come. First will be the source code management checkout, the git repo checkout, and then all the dependents and the reports it will be collected. And the stage next stage will be, it has a different stages, right? All the stages. In the first stage it will be the same checkout. The next stage will be the build or launch, whatever you want, application building or launching. And next is the test of your application, okay, unit testing and all. Then that will be deployed, or you can maintain a delivery or deploy. All these things can be done. So in this stage you can see multiple stages. Parallel build you can run. You can run parallel build. Suppose you have a multiple builds is required for your project. If whenever you do the real-time project, you will be seeing like your application may require multiple build, two times, three times, four times with a different parameters. You need to build it. Suppose if you do a single build, what will happen? It will take multiple. It will take more time, right? It will take long time to build to finish. So what will happen if you have this machines available, right? The sources available. What you can do? You can do parallel build so that all the builds can happen parallelly. Okay, it will not wait until the another build completes. So in that time, you can save time, right? Your pipeline will complete soon, right? So you can do the parallel build also. You can see here the different stages. In the stages, you can do parallel testing also. Integration testing, integration smoke, end-to-end test. You can do parallel. Okay, all these things, whatever we are seeing currently in the diagram, those things we are going to do it. Okay, now if you see here the pipeline concepts, there are only these four things you have to remember. The first thing is the pipeline. Okay, pipeline is a user defined model of a CD pipeline. A pipeline's code defines your entire build process. Okay, a node is a machine which is part of Jenkins environment and is capable of executing a pipeline. I already have told you the node, but in the after this pipeline, I'll show you how you can set up your own node, how you can get a server, and how you can set that server as a node in your Jenkins. Okay, the server master slave concept I'll just go through after this pipeline. Okay, so remember, just this node is a machine, or you can say node is a server. Node is a server or machine, or is a part of Jenkins environment where you want to execute your build. Okay, that's the node. Next is stage. Stage will be the different blocks or different stages of your pipeline. As I showed you in this diagram, the stages, whatever the stage you want to execute. Okay, conceptual distinct subset and task performed through the entire pipeline. Build, test, deploy, all these stages. Okay, and steps actually the single task inside the stage. In this stage, in the building stage, what are the steps is required? What are the steps are required? Those things you have to write it. So all these three things only you have to remember: node, stage, and stage. And this only you have to put in your pipeline syntax. Here is the syntax overview, declarative pipeline fundamentals, and it is very simple, guys. So if you see here, it's very simple. Nothing is there to write. Only thing is you have to write a pipeline. That is most important. The first time whenever you write the declarative pipeline, you have to start with pipeline. Okay, pipeline. Then let me just write it down one second. Okay. You have to start with pipeline. Okay, that's the syntax. First things you have to start with pipeline. Then you have to decide where you want to run your project, run your build, in which machine, whether in the same Jenkins server, a master machine, or you want to set up this to run on another server or in a different server where your project need to be built. That you have to mention. So that will be your agent. So you have to mention as agent. So you can either mention as agent any, that means any available agent it will be built, but that's not the thing normally we do in the companies. We set up the exact machine where the build should run. Okay, so you can mention as in the bracket, we can give a label. Suppose the machine like I can just my win server. This is the machine where I want to run this pipeline. Okay, done. Next, once agent is done, what you have to do? Let me just make it a good. Okay. Now, what I have to do? I have to simply write the stages. What are the stages do I need, right? Different stages. Simple stages I'll do. Inside the stages, you have to write the stage. What are the stages you want? Suppose I want the stage as first stage is to suppose I need my code to be scanned, right? I can write scan. Simple. Then inside the stages, you can write steps. As I told, inside the stage, you will have steps, right? So, right, steps. What are the steps do you need to be executed? Suppose in these steps, I need to scan my code. Okay. So, your point would be right. So, what code you have to write to scan the code? Remember, guys, in the real time, you will be using different scanning mechanism in your, like you'll be using sonar type, you'll be using sonar cube and all, right? Those things you have to, where you have to get it, remember all this whatever I'm telling, you have to get it from your developer, right? The developer has to provide how they scan their code, how they build their code, because the manual things if you don't get it you cannot automate it. So you'll find it out what is the command, what is the binary code, and what is the your path. Okay, what is the destination where this binary is available, and you can use that one to automate the stuff. Okay, suppose you have to write this code here and you have to automate it. Remember, all these things will go inside the steps. So for your understanding, I'm just writing a simple one to just print whatever I want to achieve it. Okay, suppose simple thing, I just wrote it something. So whatever command you will provide it here, it will be executed. Okay, now this is the steps. Now what I'm going to do next is another stage I'll just add, that is suppose to build. After code scanning is complete, I'll need to suppose build it. Okay, then let's build it, another stage. Remember, another stage you have to write. Suppose I'll just write it to build. Okay, same thing, you have to write the steps. Building is done. Suppose I want to deliver this the product. Okay, simple thing. So I'll just write it stays. This is the syntax I'm showing, but the real project I'll give you. Don't worry. Okay. This is the syntax I'm showing how you have to write it. After that, I'll show you the real project, and we'll do one or two real projects with pipeline. Then we can suppose I want to deliver this code. Okay. Then you can write deliver or whatever. These are the just comments. Okay. These are the message or comments. Okay. You have to write whatever you want. Scan, build, and deliver. Okay. So I'm just giving what is the my requirement. Okay, simple. See, this is what it's a very simple syntax you have to write. If you go here and just check, okay, this is the simple syntax you have to write it. Agent any, but here agent uh, I have given a label my win server. You can give as agent any. Remember, if you want to run, there will be questions come how you will run your pipeline on a specific node or specific machine. Then you can mention in the pipeline you have to specify the agent name or the label where you want to run your pipeline. Or if you want to run in any available agent or any available machine, then you can just remember just write it down agent any. Okay, good. So now that's done. Okay, here,
I,
yeah, yeah, please.
Ranjit, I have a question here.
Yeah.
So it is mandatory to have all these three stages in a pipeline
No,
file?
no, Sasikala, it's not mandated. That's why I'm telling. It's based on your requirement. Based on your requirement, you have to write these stages, right? Suppose here I just, okay, fine. You're getting confused. Suppose I wrote it here, three stages. No, it's not like you have to write the three stages only, right? Okay, here I did a mistake. Here it is six. It's not like mandatory three stages. You can write one stage also. That's why based on your requirement. Suppose your project required 100 stages, so you have to write 100 stages. If your project required only two stages, then you have to write two stages, and that's all. Your project is done. Most of the stuffs, right? Most of the work actually it requires 10 or 15 stages or four or five stages if you are going for a scripted one. This is the declared if you are going for a scripted one, which I'll tell you in the CAD library concept. There you don't need, you may need only two or three stages and everything will be scripted and you can call the codes. Okay. And you can call the codes interchangeably in the same script. But here, okay, suppose you're writing pipeline and you have to execute multiple stages. Remember, even though in the scripted you write this three stages, but it will be looping other stages inside the script. Eventually, you'll get 5 to 10 or 15 or 20 stages in the screen. Okay, it is purely based on your requirement, based on your project. Based on your project, you have to write the stages.
Okay, fine. And one more question. Actually, we are mentioning whichever node or server we want to run under a label. Okay.
Mhm.
So how this Jenkins files indicate uh, that this server is made as a pipeline?
Yeah, I'll
How it is interlinked or how the connection is established?
yeah, I'll tell you. I have not gone through that point, I'll tell you all everything. Okay. So once we do
Okay,
this setup, you
fine.
will understand clearly. I'm just giving the syntax and writing
Okay,
the code. I have not yet set up the pipeline. Okay. So that time I will see how it works.
okay, fine.
Okay. So suppose I can write another stage here, four stages. So this four stages, I just wrote it. Okay. Now all these things, what we have to do, let me put into a repositories. Okay. Now, so I wrote my code based on your my project requirement. So how you will write it? So let me just log into the one second. Let me just log into my GitHub account. Okay, this is what we are doing, right? This is the project I am going to show you. Okay. Now, before doing this, let me just simple project to show you how you can write the pipelines in a different ways. Okay, let's go to the Jenkins first. Oh, Jenkins, I have not opened it. Okay, so just go to the new item. I told you, you have to select pipeline. You have to select pipeline and give a project name. Okay, I can just anything you can give it. Okay, based on your requirement, you have to give the project name. Just click OK. Okay, a job already exists with the same first pipeline. Okay, fine. So now what we'll do here, now you can see it here, right? The tabs here. If you go for freestyle, you'll get multiple tabs over here for each stages, right? For each stages, you will get multiple tabs here. But here it is very simple. We don't have anything more details here. Only simple. Whatever you want to put it here. So in the general things, I'm not going to show you now. So in the next project, I'll just show you. Okay, I'm not going to select anything. Just give a description. As I told, you have to give the meaningful description. Then go to the build trigger. So in the build trigger, again, how do you need to be triggered? Whether policy, I already have explained you all this. Okay, by work and all this. I'm not going to do it now. I'll just build it manually. Now, advanced project options. Okay, so leave that advanced project options. It's not required now. If you just check it here, display the name and all, I don't need it now. So most things is the pipeline. This is what you have to write. So if you go and select a pipeline job, you'll find two options over here. One is the pipeline script, and the other one is pipeline script from SCL. So remember, Sasikala, whatever the questions you were asking about, how Jenkins will know which Jenkins file to be executed based on the project, right? So you have two options here. Okay, if you want to, I'll show you this pipeline script from SCM. There you will understand clearly. But for the first basic example, I'm just giving you two options are there, right? Pipeline script. If you are selecting pipeline script and they are giving actually one window pane here, and you can write your code here itself. You can write your code here itself. Okay. Now let me just copy paste the code whatever we have written here. You can simply write the code here. You don't have to write anything in the Jenkins file. Remember, you don't have to write anything in the Jenkins file. If you choose this option, pipeline script from source code management, then you must have to write Jenkins file. Okay. Okay. So here I just wrote this one and just save it. Save it. Okay. Simply, I just wrote this pipeline in the pipeline script window pane. I did not use anything. Okay. Now the Jenkins will understand which code need to be executed. Right. It's very simple. Let me just build this one. I did not set up any manual things, right? I simply wrote the code and it worked. Okay, fine. So it failed. Okay, I'm showing you the log. I'll just show you the log and you tell me why it failed. Okay. Hmm. Just go through this log from the starting and tell me why it failed. It will be very simple. If you read first 4 5 lines, you will understand why it failed.
Actually, that mean my win server property does not exist.
Yes, that's the property, and that is the agent we had given to execute. Okay, but we have not set up any agent yet, right? We have not set up any machine yet. We just simply gave the agent name, but Jenkins could not find the agent name. That's why it failed. Okay, so what we have to do now? Let's, instead of agent specify, just make it as any. Okay, go to the pipeline and here just specify any. Okay, save it. Very nice. So see, the first step is running scan, next build, next test and deliver. You can see how the stages and how it looks like, right? This is how the pipeline stages you can view it. The stage view, first scan, build, test and deliver. Okay, all these things it took this much seconds to complete. If you want to see the logs, just go to here and you can find the logs over here. Now you can see, right, how you can set up the agent. If you give the wrong agent name, it will also fail. Initially itself it will fail. So all these things, it is finished successfully. Now you understood how you can write the pipeline syntax and how you can execute using the pipeline script. Now let's do the same thing as a fully automated and how real time you have to write it. This is just example I showed you how you, what is the pipeline and how you can execute it. But how it real times you will do the setups. Let's do the project. Okay. So this is the, suppose your project name DevOps Web is your project and you got this GitHub URL from your developer. Okay. And these are the codes developer has written. These are the code developer has written. Okay. So let's check this one. 1 second. I'm just checking. Fine. This will be a good project now. Let me, first thing, what I'm going to do, I do want to use this master branch what I'm going to do, I'm going to okay, let me check what are the versions being added here. Fine. Let me create a branch. I have multiple branches here. Let me create a different branch from the master. Okay. Suppose I'll give the branch name as dev dev before. Okay. Create branch now. I create a branch called dev 1.1 hyphen v4, and in this branch I have all these project files available. Okay, I want to build this branch. I want to build this project. Now, what I have to do, the unnecessary things I'll just remove it. I'll just keep whatever things is required for my project. Okay, let me delete whatever things is not required. Suppose Docker file is not required, as these things can be deleted. Delete this file, commit changes. Okay, in this way you have to work, guys. Okay, you can add whatever the files is required in the project whenever you are going to automate. Okay, and let me delete this file as well. Okay, I'm not using any CLI, git command line interface to work directly. I'm working on the GitHub. Okay, the same thing you can do in the CLI also. These things are not required, so I'm deleting it. So it will be deleted from the current branch. Okay, not from the master. All these things will be available in the different branch and different master, but it will not be available in my current dev 1.1 v4 branch. Good. So it will be easy to do in the CLI. You can select the files and delete immediately and commit and save it and post it back. But while it doing, we have to obviously you have to select the buttons and go through that. Now I cleaned everything. Also, let me delete this file so that I can show you how you can write it. Right. Before that, I'll just okay. Now let me delete this file as well, as we don't need. Cancel. Delete this Jenkins file. Good. So this is how you will get the code from the developer. Nothing will be there, only the project specific codes will be there. This code they used to build manually on their environment. Now they have given to you and you have to put it into the Jenkins. I'm writing it from the scratch. Okay. So you got this requirement and you saw this form.xml and you find it out it is a Java project and you have to build it. Okay. Now what your things you have to write the pipeline, you have to write the code. Okay, now simple things, you have to write the pipeline from the starting, and then isn't any, as we don't have any agent setup, I'm just writing agent any. Now tools. Now this is another plugin, it's called as tools. Which tool do you want to use to build? Whether you are using Maven, Gradle, or any other MS build for Windows application, whatever you want, you have to just use the tools over here, right? Tools. So I'm using this, suppose Maven tool, to build my project. So you can set up as Maven and local underscore Maven. So what is this local underscore Maven? Is nothing but the property and the name whatever we had set up in our Jenkins. Where you will get it? I think you guys remember. If you go to your global tool setups, right? You remember manage Jenkins and global tool configuration. There we had set up the tool name for the Maven. Okay, the tool name for Maven was there. It's a Git, Gradle, and Maven. So if you just click it here, see we have given us local underscore Maven. Okay, the same name is given it over here, local underscore Maven. Suppose you have given anything else. Suppose you have given here Saravanan, right? Underscore Maven. You'll just give the name over here. Okay. So I've given us local underscore Maven. So let it be there as local underscore Maven.
Yeah, Ranjita.
Yeah.
Actually, in case if you are using Makefile of as a build tool, that also we can give it as Makefile instead of Maven here.
Yeah, for Makefile and all, so you don't suppose you are using a tool Makefile, you can have set of using this command. I'll show you that Makefile things. Okay, I'll tell you how to do. You don't have to
Okay.
specify. You don't have to specify any tool here. Okay, if you are using Makefile and all, even for Maven also, you no need to set up this tool. Sometimes if you are executing the real commands in the script itself. For Makefile, what will happen if you are using C, C++ and all, you are using Makefile and you have to execute the command like this. Okay, okay, I'll tell you in the next pages. Okay, how you'll execute different commands.
Okay. Okay. So Maven and
Great.
Gradle and all can be given under tools
Yes, yes. So
plugins, right?
whatever the tools you are using as plugin in the Jenkins, you have to specify over here because you are specifying that particular tool is required to be executed.
Huh. Yeah, that's why. So what I understood is Makefile is a special category, so that you can code it to fetch the Makefile and execute it. But in
So
case of tools I'm using like a Maven or Cradle or Ant,
you
that should be given in the tools
section, yeah,
uh, space or tools tag or whatever it is.
yeah,
I,
tool
I,
section.
I don't get that.
Yeah, it's tools
Okay,
section.
fine.
Yeah. Section in that section you have to provide it tools. So yes, exactly. Whatever the tools, third party or extra tools you are using to build or to do something else, you have to specify over here. And if you are doing, suppose
Okay.
Makefile comes in built with C, C++, right? So you are not, we don't need extra
Yeah, correct.
tool to do that. So you can execute that particular command like MS build. Like MS build, it comes with the MS.NET, right? Microsoft package. It comes with Microsoft package. And if you want the different MS build to be installed and do that, so you have to specify in the script itself, not in the tool. Okay. So for your Makefile thing,
Okay.
I'll show you how you have to write the command. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, fine.
Now another sections you can see it here is the parameters. I was telling right initially while setting up the GUI right UI, I was telling you the parameters you have to. I'll show you how to give the parameters and all. So here in the pipelines, it gives us parameters. I just giving us a string staging server. Suppose I just want uh, give a name. What type of name of the server? You can just give it as the staging server, and the default value is the IP address of the server. IP address of the server or the domain name or the host name you can provide it here. But normally the company it will have the domain name here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I have to get another server. I have to get another server now. Let's get another server. Mhm. Suppose this is also Ubuntu or CentOS. CentOS. Okay, let me start this server. Mm, why I need this? Actually, I need a server, right? I need a server to deploy my code or deliver my code. I need a staging server. So testing server, I'm just need another server. So this one will be the first one will be my master server where Jenkins is running. But from this server, I want to deliver once the build is done. I want to deliver the code to the staging server. That is what I'm going to do it. So the staging server details, I'm going to give it over here. Okay. So for that, I need the staging server details. So I'm just going to get a staging server. Okay, so I got it. Now get the IP address or the domain name or whatever you want. I'll just put it here. IP address. Okay. Now, next thing is stages. All these details you added. Now, next thing is stages. What are how many stages do you want? So, suppose I want only build and deployment. That's all two stages sizes. It's required for this project. For the build, I have steps, right? The steps, what steps do you want? The first step is to do the build by using this mbn command at sh the shell prompt. I'm going to execute mbn clean package, whatever I'm going to execute in the steps. This is the build. It will happen using the maven tool. Okay, now after the build, we'll have the post section. So in this example itself, I'm just showing you how to write the post section. That means once the build is happened, we have to write the post build section, right? So once it is success, we have to suppose I need to archive the artifact. So simple things: archive artifacts, and artifact name. What are the artifacts you want to archive? You have to write this code: archive artifacts, and then so upon success, post upon success. Suppose you want to write another instead of success, if you want to, so you can write also failure. Upon failure, execute this code. You have to remove this success part. Okay, so post build upon success, execute this part. Okay, now this stage, one stage build is done. The next stage, I want to deploy it. Once the build is done, I want to deploy it. So what you have to write: parallel deploy to staging. I'm just giving the staging stage different stage name, and here you can see I have given a parallel. So why I've given the parallel? If you want to deploy in the multiple, see all this concept I'm giving you in this one project itself, one scenario itself. If you want to run in the parallel things, how you'll run the parallel things? You can write stage. In the stage, you have to write the parallel and multiple stages. I want deploy to staging and deploy to different server. Suppose server one, I can just giving deploying to staging server one, and what I can write? I can write another stage in this parallelly. It should be deployed to another server. I can write deploy to staging server two. Okay, same steps you can write it here. As there is no other servers, I'm giving you the how it will execute the parallelly. So simply printing something. Okay, because I have only one server created, not more servers. So I've just simply printed one server because I don't have a single second server available. So only one server I'm going to deploy it. Okay, fine. This is how you have to write. Now once you write your pipeline and you have to save this in your project file, you have to save this in your project file as Jenkins file, J capital E, Jenkins file. Save this as Jenkins file. Remember, and no extension, nothing. Save. Okay, I saved it. What we need now, we need to put into your project repositories. So you got this from your developer. Now you have to add your Jenkins file in this project itself. Okay, in the project main folder, that is the project folder DevOps web. Okay, so let me just add a new file. Either you can create a new file or upload a file. I'll just upload a file. Jenkins file, open. Not open. Okay, so it is. You can see it here. Now I can see, just commit the changes. Okay, you can see here I have added one file, Jenkins file here, and whatever is written, see, all these things are added here. Okay, now before setting up all these things, you have to make sure the server, whatever, which server you are going to deliver or deploy, you should have the server connectivity with the Jenkins server. That means the remote staging server should have the connectivity with the Jenkins server. You have to set up that first. Okay, or else Jenkins cannot talk to the staging server, because it need to require a handshake, require a connectivity between these two servers. Okay, that I'm not doing it now. I'll show you how to set up the job, and the job will get terminated or fail. That time I'll show you the logs, and then I'll show you how to fix it. Okay, now we have added the required Jenkins file. We have automated the stops now. Now how we'll set up this in the Jenkins? Okay, now go to your Jenkins. Where is the Jenkins? Now go to your Jenkins. Create a job here. You have to write a job. Okay, select the pipeline. Select the pipeline. Okay, okay. Give a pipeline. Okay, I don't need all these things. So build triggers. Build triggers. First, let me show you manually, and then I'll set up the poll SCM. I already have showed you. I'm not going to do the poll SCM again. This time I'll do it manually. Next trigger, I'll show you. You set up the webhook. Okay, the GitHub hook I will set up, that I'll show you. Now the advanced. Okay, now here in the pipeline, right? We don't. Last time I showed you pipeline script, but now I'll show you pipeline script from SCM, from source code management. Select it here. Okay. So as soon as you select it here, it will just give the source code management. Which one you want to use here, either as Git or SVN. So I'll just use Git because I'm going to use Git project here. And you have to select the project repositories, this Git repositories where you have added your Jenkins file. Okay, automations in which project. So you need to get this URL. Okay, go here, put the URL over here. Okay, good. I did not ask for credential because it is public. Okay, if it is private, it will ask for credential and you have to select the credentials and give it. It's very simple. Okay, guys, don't get confused. Now, the repository is added now. What I'm going to do? Okay, so here is the main point. What it says, branches to build. Branches to build. Which branch do you want to build it? So for me, I have a separate branch. It's called dev slash, not the master one. I'm not building the master one. I'm building dev slash 1.1 hyphen b4, right? So you have to specify here dev slash 1.1 hyphen b4. This is the branch I'm going to build it. Done. Now, okay. Script path. See, automatically taking us Jenkins file. So Sasikala was asking me how Jenkins will know which Jenkins file and how it will trigger the Jenkins file. Now we can see we have set up the URL and instructed here it will execute this Jenkins file in this URL. So we have this Jenkins file and Jenkins will trigger this Jenkins file. Okay. Now save it. So your project is saved. Okay. Now it's very simple, right? How you set up in the Jenkins file. Only things is you have to concentrate on writing the code, writing the good code. Okay. So suppose this is a simple build and delivery. So in your project in the real time, you'll be facing, as I told, different type of stages, different type of code you have to write. The syntax is same. The syntax is same. Everything is same. Only thing is what code you are using in your project to build, that you have to specify here. Okay. Now, here I did not tell you about this staging server one. I'm just using scp command, just copying this file to the Tomcat web server, as it is a web application. One of the project we are working, it is a web application. We need a web server where we have to deploy the product, deploy the application. Okay, that's why we have to use this web server. I'll show you how to install this Tomcat server just after. Okay, now our things is done, our project is set up, is done. So we have just written the automations, but next, the mandatory requirement, the mandatory things we have not done, like the server setup, connectivity, and the Tomcat server. Those things we have not done yet. Okay, but let me build this project. Let's see what is happening. What are the error we are getting? So it's just building it. Now it is checking out the code from the source code management tool. Okay, now in the build stage it will go fine, but it will fail in the deployment to server, right? See, source code management, installation and build is done. In the deployment stage, it ran parallelly. It ran parallelly in the deployment stage, but it failed in the staging server one. Why it is failed? Either you can see, click here, go to logs, can see, but I want to show you the entire log. Just get it here, and you can see here it is pulled from the Git. It pulled out from the Git, and if you under it, first is the build is success. You can see the build is success, the post build also success, deployed to server one. Why it is deployed to server one, it is failed. What it says, executing this route, and it is not able to connect to the server. Okay, you can say access denied, or you'll see connectivity, you'll see some error. Okay. So persistence minor unspecified JSS failure. Okay. So it could not able to connect the server. Okay. Now what we have to do in this case, just connect to the Jenkins server first. We have first check the connectivity, whether we have real connectivity or not. So these things normally you don't have to do, guys. It will be all. It should be set up by the administrator already, so that you should have connectivity. You don't have to worry about that. But if you're working for a small organization or a startup company, everything you have to do only. So you have to set up all these things, right? You have to set up the servers. They will provide you the server details, credentials, everything, and you have to do the setups. So I am just guiding you both ways. If you are landed into a startup company, or you have opened your own company, how you can set up for your own infrastructure. That also I'm guiding you. Also, how you work in a MNC or a big organization, that also I am just telling you. Okay. Now let me show you how you set up all these connectivity issues and all. I connected to the master, the Jenkins server, where the Jenkins is installed. Now I need to connect to the server, right? Let's do that. Let me get the web server IP address. So this is the IP address. I'm going to make it the server one, right? The Tomcat server where I'm going to install it. So let me connect from the Jenkins server using sorry, root. I'm going to connect to the server. Let's see what error we are getting. Yes, sorry. Okay, yes. Permission denied. We don't have any permission. Okay, let me make myself root first. Sudo. Now execute this command. I'm just trying an alternative way, whether we have access or not. Good. So using root, we can able to connect to the server. That means we have connectivity set up from this server to the Jenkins server. Okay, from this server to Jenkins server. Now I have to do small changes here. Just exit out from here. Okay. CD. I'm into root. Okay. So here you'll find it out. CD. It will be okay. CD root. Okay. Under this root, you will find one .ssh folder. Okay. ls-ls. So you'll find one .ssh. Yeah, .ssh folder. Remember .ssh folder. In this .ssh folder, we'll have this key. We'll have this public key available. ID underscore RSA pop. Okay. This is the Jenkins server. Let me connect to the let me connect to the new server. Just connecting to the new server. Permission denied. What was the key used? It is a CentOS machine, right? So CentOS. Okay. Oh, it is not this key. It is actually different key. Hmm, okay. Yeah, I connected through now. Okay. Now, if I just make myself root here and go to root, and if I go to cd.ssh here also, and you'll find one called as known host and authorized key. You'll find one file called as authorized key, and you have to make sure, okay, you have to make sure the key, this public key of the Jenkins server, this public key of the Jenkins server, okay, this public key of this Jenkins server, okay, should have been added to the remote server, okay, of authorized key of the remote server. Okay, so let me do this check whether 146, okay, should have this one, I think 146. Okay, we have been, it's been added twice actually. So if you check here, so this is the one, okay, yeah, 146, 172, 146, the seventh one is already added, is already added. So if it is not there for you, if it is not there for you, what will happen? You have to add it over here. Okay. So first time why it is failed, because the due to the fingerprint check. Okay. So let me start the job again and we'll see how it's working now. Just
Ranjit, is it a kind of SSL handshake process? What you showed that RSA files.
not the SSL handshake. SSL handshake is totally different. This is the SSH. You are using the secure shell, right, to connect to the server. So while connecting to the server, what will happen? Okay. Let me just tell you those concepts. Whether we can connect two ways, right? One is by giving user ID and password. In Unix, I'm talking about. Either you can use by using even in Windows and something else also, you have to use in a two ways, either user ID and password or else certificate. Okay. But here in this case, what we are using, I'm using password less authentication. Password less authentication. That means we don't need any password to be connected to the server. For that, what we need of the to share the authentication. We have to identify this server is known to that server so that whenever we try to connect, it will be connect easily without asking for any credentials. That means we are sharing the certificate, we are sharing the keys. Suppose I'm giving my home keys to you or to somebody. Suppose I'm telling you, you can just come and collect, open my room or just whatever things you want, you can take it away. The same way I'm just sharing the public key of one server to another server. That means that server is known to this one, and whenever this server wants to connect, wants to open the door of that server, can easily connect because the key is already shared. It will not ask for any kind of authentication, extra authentication. You got it?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Then those certificates got created when we create the instance, right, in Amazon.
Exactly. Whenever the C2 creates, that certificate will automatically created. But here, this certificate is totally different. I'm not using that certificate to connect. I'm not using that certificate. I'm just using the key of the server. The key you have to generate it. The key you have to generate it. Okay, let me delete everything and show you from the scratch. Okay, now
Okay.
that you will understand clearly. Suppose I just want to delete this ID underscore. I'll just delete it. ID underscore RS. Good. Now I deleted all this key. Okay. Now if I try to connect the server, Last time we connected easily, right? Let's, okay, this is the server. Now let me connect. See, it says permission denied. Now I'm not able to connect to that server. Last time I tried, I connected because the key was shared. The key was given to the other server. Now I deleted the key, but whatever the key I already have given to this guy is the old key. Now I got a new lock. Now I got a new key, and this key, whatever is given with the other server, is the old one. Okay. Now, how you have to do? First, you have to generate a new key. Okay. I'm giving you from the scratch. Okay. So, how to generate a key and share with the other opponent or other server. So, there is a command called SSH.
Keygen, I think.
Exactly. SSH hyphen keygen. SSH hyphen keygen. So this is a command ssh hyphen keygen to generate a key. Now, whether you can give a one second. So you have to provide the key here, right? So I have to give just key, either give name or leave it. I'm just giving default name as ID underscore RSA. Hit enter. Empty phrase name. If you want to give it passphrase, you can just give it or leave it. I'm leaving it. Passphrase again, leave it. Now, if I see it here, I had deleted the file, right? Now this ID underscore RSA public and ID underscore RSA is a private key. It's a private key and this is a public key. Now both are generated. Both are generated. Now I want to share this public key with the server so that I can connect anytime whenever I want. I can connect to the server whenever I want. Okay. Now just get this key. Go here and okay, it's disconnected. You have to go to the root directory. Okay, so you have to go to the pwd. If you do pwd root.ssh, here you'll find this authorized key. Okay, add the key in this authorized. That means you are giving authorization to that server to connect me. Okay, you are giving authorization to the server to connect. I'm just in the end of this file. I'm going to add the key of this server. Okay, I added. Yes. Now save it. Then if I just now try to connect, let's see what is happening. See, it logged in automatically. See, last time it was not working. Now you saw how you can generate the key and share with the server, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Now we are able to connect. Now let me start this server. Sorry, build. Okay, you can see it here. Now it gives a with build with parameter. I was telling, right, parameterized build with parameter. So when you click it here, it gives option the staging server IP address, because if you see the pipeline, we had given parameters here, parameters, right? So we have now parameterized the code. Whenever you ask for build, what will happen? It will just ask for the parameters to provide. Just build. It's going to build now. Again, it will fail on the staging server, but this time with a different error. It should have different error. Okay. See, don't think that you can do these automations in the in single shot. Okay. Remember, guys, whenever you're working in a project, you will have multiple failures. Okay, multiple failures. 20 failures, 40 failures, 100 failures, 200 failures, you'll get it. At last, you'll get a success. Okay. So, because that's not in single shot, you have to do the automations. You have to write the automations chunk by chunk, step by stage, stages by stages. Okay. You have to test one stage and then you have to add another stage into that. If you add everything in one plate, you'll get to struggle to fix the issue. Okay. So best way to write, whatever, suppose you have 10 stages in your project, in your requirement, you have to write simple single stages and taste that one, and then just keep adding the stages, and finally do the final build and see whether this pipeline is going through smoothly or not. Okay, and then you have to fix the issue based on the error you are getting. Now, what we are getting it here. So good. Okay. We are connected to the server, but it is failed here. What it says, last time also the same thing happened. Okay, here it says no such file or directory. It says no such file or directory. That means this directory, OPT Tomcat Web Apps, this is not available because the server itself is not installed. Okay, so if I go to the server where I want to deploy, if I go here, just do cd. Okay, because this folder itself not there. So I want, now what I have to do, I'll just install the Tomcat server. I'll just install the Tomcat server. Just a second.
So by default, Ranjit, 1 minute. So
Yeah.
by default, it took Tomcat server
No,
as a deployment server.
no, 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 no. Why I'm saying it's Tomcat server is easy to install. So this is just a project, right? This is just an example to show you. You can write whatever the server you want. See, why we need a Tomcat server? Okay, that's a good question.
It's a web, yeah,
Exactly.
that's a web server, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It's a web server. That's why we need a server to run it. If it is a standalone application, if it's standalone desktop applications, and what we don't need any server. We can any machine you can just run it and it will work. If it's a Java file, Java project, it's a desktop project or any GUI you have desktop GUI you have written. So you can simply put it in the server and it will machine and it will work. But to run a web application, we need a web server. We need a web server to run the application. That's why you need a server, and I'm going to use Apache Tomcat server here. You can use whatever server based on your company's requirement. If you're using .NET, you have to use IIS server, right? Internet,
Mm.
internet. What is that? IIS server, right? And you have multiple
Yeah.
other also, Glassbox, Glassfish, and lots of other servers based on your project and based on your company's things, even, right? Now, what I'm going to do, let me install the server quickly, right? So, one second, I'm just going to get the code. Okay, I think I have shared this document with you. No, right? Okay, I'll share this one. Um, it will be very easy to like the installations of Maven we did, right? The same thing also installations of Tomcat also, it will be easy to do that. So here are the steps of doing this Tomcat installations. Okay, install Tomcat. So what I have to do, I'm going to use similar approach of Maven installations. Here what I'm just going to download a tar file. I'm going to use Tomcat 7 server. Okay, so the first thing is just go to the server, which one you're going to make it to web server. So this server I'm just going to make it as web server. Okay, so opt in this in this path in this path I'm going to download the Maven. Okay, good. The Maven is already been downloaded. Okay, so the Maven is already been downloaded, I think. So I can use this one. But if you have not downloaded, you can just simply, I'll share this document. You can follow these steps of installing Maven. Okay, installing Maven. Now it has the all steps here. Don't get confused. Just go through that. And if you face any issues, I think you have not gone through the video whatever I had said in the last class. I think nobody has practiced. Okay, see, just do practice, or else you'll forget it. This setup, right? See, Jenkins will mostly is required time to do the setups. If you do the perfect setup, and it's done. If you have done small mistakes, and you'll get lots of time to find it out where you have done mistakes and what mistakes you have done, where and what mistakes you have done. It will take lots of time to fix it. Okay, I have given all these steps over here in this documentations. Go through that and do multiple practices. So you'll be thinking, suppose I'm doing only in Tomcat server, how about the other servers? The same things. If you understand the concept, if you understand how to work, how to run, and you can write, you can work anywhere you want, you can run anywhere you want, right? Same thing also, if you know how to set up the basic things and how to set up the servers, one server, then if you some tomorrow you're given to multiple servers to work, you can do that because you know the concept how you can do the stops. Okay, fine. So mine is already Maven is installed here. So what I have to do, just simply restart the server. You have to simply restart the server. Okay. But for that, let me just go through whether it is, I don't need this Maven file to be there. Apache. Let's delete this. It's a very long file. Okay, good. Delete it. Okay. Now I have this Maven is there. Just go to this Maven folder, and we have to go to this bin, and here we'll find, oops, I'm stupid. So it's a map and I have to download the Tomcat server, right? Okay, you guys are not telling me also. It's a Maven one, right? We need the Tomcat to be done. Okay, so it's Tomcat server is not there. Okay, fine. So we have to download the Tomcat now. Just go through this. I need the exact URL to download this one. Okay, I need this one to download. Okay, so this will fail. I know how to why it will fail because it has a space over here. It has a space over here. So whenever if you are copy pasting from this document, make sure, because if you see here, it's given in new line over here to get this one. So when you execute this one, it will fail, and don't get confused, and just check the space over here and just use it. Okay. Now I'm just downloading by using wget command. I just downloaded this star file. Okay. So once you downloaded this star file, I have to untar it. Tomcat server, I have to untar it. Okay. So let's untar this one by using the command star. Okay. Star hyphen xvf. Give this one. Permission denied. Okay. Make it as root. Okay. Sudo star hyphen xvf. Enter. Good. Everything is extracted now. Apache Tomcat is extracted. I don't need this star.jj file because it's a very huge one. I'll remove this one from the server. Yes. Good. Now, this folder looks like a big one. I want to Tomcat. I will just rename this one. Okay, just rename it MV by using MV command. Okay, Tomcat. Okay. Okay, good. It says permission denied because this folder is under root, right? The if you can see here, it is under root only, right? So that's why it give permission denied. Let me use sudo. So you can see here, I got this Tomcat insertions. If I go this Tomcat folder, we'll have this WebOps folder here, and our project to be put it in this folder itself. Okay, just if I go here, and project needs to be placed under this folder. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, if I go and check this code, it gives opt Tomcat web apps. In this folder, we are going to deliver the project. Okay, now let me start the server first. Let me start the server and see whether we are able to connect this server or not. Remember, Tomcat server also runs 8080 port on 8080 port. Okay, so I have to start the server. So you have to go to the bin folder, cd bin, and here you'll find lots of scripts. Okay, so startup.sh for Linux, startup.bat for Windows. Okay, startup.bat for Windows, startup.sh for Linux. So you have, as it is a Linux machine, I'll just execute the script. Okay, good. So it says Tomcat is started. Tomcat started. Now, if I go to the server,
Ranjit, when you go for this Catalina.sh, I see many people are using Catalina.sh.
yeah. So more companies actually you are using Catalina.sh. So you have to use Catalina.sh to start it. So Catalina.sh is not simple that you can start for everywhere and any project. It is required lots of other settings also. If I execute Catalina.sh, it will ask other variables which I have not set up. Either you can simply use. So companies in the organization they use Catalina.sh. If you just open this script, right, it will have lots of things written here which I have not done the setups. Okay. See, lots of variables, lots of forms, other things need to be set up. Okay. So as we said, let me execute this Catalina and let's see what is happening. So as I have started, okay, 1 second. Yes, I can do it. Okay, Tomcat server is running. Now let me stop it. Okay. Um, Shut down. Okay, stopped. It's not there. So let me execute this Catalina. Let's see. Catalina.sh. It's not directly you have to start. You have either you can use start Catalina.sh start.
Or run, I think, or run current window.
Yeah. It's not using Catalina base. Catalina path temp home it Tomcat. Okay. So if you can see here, it is started. It is simple started, but here I already have set up this Catalina home and everything. Okay, that's why it's just working. Okay, let me see this screen whether it is running or not. Okay, it's running. Okay, what I think Muthu you told, right? Or server name?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, madam. So actually, guys, companies whenever companies who are working in Tomcat server and all, they mostly use Catalina. There are lots of settings and lot of changes is required, which I have not done and I cannot show you now. But see, the simple things is you have to run the Catalina server, Catalina.sh script. And I think Muthu, if he is working, he must have know what are the other setups and settings for Catalina is required. Okay. Now the server is running.
Uh, Ranjit, actually, what I guess is Catalina is to start remotely server startups. Tomcat servers or startup. If you want to start remotely, then we will go for the Catalina with the other parameters.
Maybe yes. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I have used this Catalina for my web applications, so I remember that.
good. Okay, then you guys know how to start the Tomcat server and work on that. Okay, so what you will do it here, our server is now running. Now, if I just go here and because this is installed on the EC2 instance of AWS, right? I just need the IP address of the server. So just get the IP address and default port of Tomcat is 8080. You know already very well. So just open it. Oh, okay. So this is 8080. Actually, I already have set up for Jenkins. So whenever I use 8080 for Jenkins, it is opening for Jenkins. Okay. Now what I have to do simply, okay, we need to do some changes to the script. So I have to use a different port then. Let's use a different port. So I have to do some changes to the script. Okay. There are a few things you have to do. First is the go to the config tomcat user things need to be changed, and also the server.xml file I have to modify. Okay. So let's go to the config folder. In this folder, you'll find the Catalina directory and Catalina properties also there, and you need to do some setups for the Catalina if you are going to use it. Okay. So here I'm going to simply use different user to do that. Suppose tomcat underscore user, do the changes. So default username is tomcat. So here you can see different default username is tomcat. Okay, username. But here let me just use remove this and comment this. I'm not changing all this now. Let it just save it. If it is required, then I'll change it. Then vi server, I'm going to update this server.xml as it is using 8080 port, right? I have to change it to a different port. Okay. Okay. So this connector, okay, connector, if you go to it, connector, you are getting it here, port 8080, okay, port 8080. So suppose if you see here, connector, same thing. I'm just going to first uncomment this line. Okay, this line is already uncommented. Okay, fine. I have to change this port to a different port. Suppose 82181 or 8282 or anything if you best on your port selection, you can give it 81, 81, something I gave it. Okay, then save it. Okay, so once you saved it, you have to
So,
repair.
okay, now, yeah, Ranjit, by the above change what you have done,
Mhm,
we are going to start the Tomcat with 8181 port number, right?
exactly.
Okay.
But it will not work. Also, we have to open the firewall for 8181 for that server. We have not yet done. Okay, I'll show you. So I have to restart the Katrina server. Okay. Uh, Now, if I go to the server and start with 8181, it will not connect. Okay. Why it will not connect? Because this 8181 port is not firewall. Okay. So what I'll do in this server, if I go to this EC2 instance, okay, I had shown you this security group, right? You have to go to the security group and modify it and open firewall for 8181. So if you go here, it is only 8080 firewall is there, but for 8181 is firewall is not there, right? So I can just modify this and provide 8181. Edit this inbound rule. Rule. Okay. Then 8181 is given. Now just go there and refresh the page and okay, we can able to connect. See, now we can able to access the Tomcat shell. Okay. Now let me just run the code. Let me run the code. Our pipeline job, right? It had failed last time. Let's do the build now. Good. See, it is now success. It is now deployed to the server. So how will access the server? If I go to the server and check the web app folder, right? If I check the web app folder, and here you'll see see DevOps web app.war file is deployed. It is deployed. Now, if I how will I access the server application? Simple thing, just give the application here. See, okay, now what I do, let's set up webhook and do some changes to the code. Okay, now all this setup has done. Our code is built successfully and deployed successfully to the staging server. So CI CD part is completely done, successfully done. Now let's do some changes to the code and set up the webhook. Set up the webhook. So as I told, the webhook is a webhook feature. Whenever there is any changes to the repositories, either pull request, push request, or any changes to the request, you have to set up that and it will be automatically triggered. And how you set up the webhook? Okay, before doing this webhook setup, let's do some. Okay, okay. First, do the webhook. Okay. First thing is, where do you need to do the webhook changes? For which project? Which project do you want to trigger through the GitHub? So what you have to do, go to this project. You can see over settings over here, right? Go to the settings, and in the settings you will find webhook. One option is here, webhook. Click on this webhook. Click on click on this webhook. Okay. Now we can see here. I had a setup a webhook for my last classes only. It is there. So let's delete this. For the password. Okay, so it is deleted now. So I have to so fresh from the scratch. I'll show you how to add it. Just click on this add webhook. Okay, and here the payload URL. The URL you have to provide the Jenkins URL. Remember, you have to provide the Jenkins URL. Okay, now you get the Jenkins URL. So this is the Jenkins URL, right? This is the Jenkins URL, and then content type application JSON format or anything, you can just leave it as it is. Or if you want for content type JSON, you can just leave it JSON, no problem. So what happened here? Which event we like to trigger this variable? Everything comes like if any a new file added or anything, any push event or new file added or anything, just go for the build or trigger it, or you want only the push event to be only the push event. Okay, suppose let me select send me everything. Okay, let me just do the only the push event. Okay, add webhook. Just added the webhook. Simple only. Added the webhook and remember, and this should be the Jenkins server. This should be the Jenkins server. Okay, what error it is getting? Last deliver was not successful. Let's see why it was not successful. So once you add it, you'll get it this recent delivery. It says it is last delivery failed. Let's see why it is failed. You get all the errors over here. What is the error? What is the error?
Ranjit, actually, I, I'm not getting what is the main purpose of webhooks.
Okay, so, Asha, you were not there in the class, I think. Okay, the webhook actually.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you. If I just go to this project, right? In the general section, there are few trigger options. Build trigger, right? If you go to the build trigger, there are few options available. How you want the build to be triggered? I was all most of the time I was showing you manually building that one, right? Build now, that button. If you click the build now, that will trigger the build manually. And if you want to automate the stuff, you don't want to log into the Jenkins and build it. If you want somebody else or some other API will do for you, then you have to select the options here. Either poll SCM, that is called polling the source code management, the intervals I was showing you, right? The intervals you have to provide it, or
Yeah.
you can
Right.
use the GitHub hook trigger. That is what I'm going to do the setup. GitHub hook. I'm setting up the GitHub hook so that any changes to the repositories, it will be triggered. Okay, it will be or this build will be automatically triggered. Okay, now as I have come to this side, so I have let me select this one GitHub hook trigger, save it. Okay, done. Now whatever the changes we need to do it, we'll do it here. Okay, okay, request we had sent it and the response we got 403. So error invalid crom was included in the request. Invalid crom. No valid powered by cheating. No. HTTP error 403. No valid from was included in the report. Okay. Before do that, let me do some changes here. If I go to the dashboard, go to the manage Jenkins, okay, and go to the configure system.
Ranjit, should we need to install this plugin in the Jenkins also, webhook plugin?
No, it's not required. It will be automatically there because that plugin is already there. Okay, by default it will be there. If
Oh,
it is not there, you can just
uh,
install the webhook. You have to
okay,
install the webhook plugins. Okay, mostly it
okay.
will be there. If not, then you have to install the webhook plugin. I'll show you. I'll show you because that comes when you install the plugin Git, right? That will be part of that package Git. It will be there.
Uh, okay, okay.
So I'm just doing some changes. Okay, fine. So let's see the webhook triggers. Okay, anyway, it is undelivered due to some 403 response. It did not get it. Fine. Now, what I'm going to do, let's do some changes to the code. It's already going to be 9. I'll just quickly show you. Okay, now let's do some changes to the code. So our automation is done. So webhook things, I'll try to fix it. Okay, maybe next class I'll show you this webhook. If it is working fine, then good, or else we'll see it on the next class. Okay. Now let me show you. If I just go here and can see this version, this application is working now. Now, suppose there is some changes is required for it. It's a real time. Just imagine there is a changes required immediately to your application, and your developer has done some changes. Where you'll do once you do some changes, and you will update into the repositories. Okay, once you will do changes and update into the repositories, it automatically the build will be triggered and it will be built and then it will be delivered immediately to the or it will be deployed to the environment specified. Okay, now let's do some changes here. Suppose I'll do 2.0. Let's commit changes.
So we are integrating Jenkins here in GitHub.
Yes, we are integrating. That is one functionality of GitHub trigger. That means we are just integrating that GitHub with Jenkins, so that when any changes happens in the GitHub, it will automatically trigger the Jenkins. Okay, that we are doing it.
Okay, that's the main. That's also a purpose of webhooks. That's why my doubt is. Is it?
It's not only for integrations of Git into the Jenkins. No, the purpose of Jenkins is like any event you want to be automatically triggered. Any event you want to be automatically triggered. See, main purpose of webhook is to do any kind of fully automations trigger, right? The build trigger. If you want to do fully automations, you don't want to touch anything. Now you are as a you are a DevOps engineer, you don't have to once you do the job setup, your work is done. Now suppose I am a developer. What part I am doing? I am the developer part I am doing now. Okay, I updated the code. As a developer, I updated the code. Now the developer has no need to go to the Jenkins or DevOps engineer no need to go to the Jenkins. It will what will happen? The webhook will automatically trigger the build on behalf of you. That is the only one
Okay.
part. That's the only one part. And the rest of the parts will automatically with the plugins and whenever you set up right, it is already integrated. Once you add this plugins, it will be automatically integrated with that. Okay. You don't have to specify like webhook is required to integrate Git. No, it's only one part like the triggering of the jobs or project will be done automatically using the uh, okay,
Webhooks.
webhooks. Okay, so
Webhooks is mainly for continuous development.
yes, it is for continuous. It is not for continuous development. It's for continuous build, continuous CI, continuous integration. It is for continuous integration.
Okay. So no. Actually, uh, we are building and staging everything in Jenkins also.
Okay,
So what is the use of webhooks? I just want to know.
that's what I told. Right? We don't see. Why we need WebHook? That's what I told, right? WebHooks means once you do the WebHook setup, you suppose I did the
Okay.
WebHook setup now. Okay, now my role is done. I have set up the WebHooks. So now, whenever the developer is doing some development work, he need it to be
Changes.
he
Yeah.
need that change to be built, right? He need that change to be built and tested. So where it will be tested and
Okay.
built, it will be tested in the Jenkins. Then who will trigger the build? Somebody should be there to log into the Jenkins and build the trigger, right? Or execute the
Okay.
trigger that it will build it.
Hmm.
So that what we are doing, we are just setting up the webhook here. So the webhook is an API. Webhook is an API which will trigger the event on behalf of you. You don't have to manually go and click somewhere. Once the code is updated into the GitHub repositories, once the code is updated and pushed to the GitHub repositories, the build will automatically trigger. That means the GitHub what will do, GitHub will check any changes to this repositories. To this repository. If it finds any changes to this repository, what will do? It will trigger the webhook. And the webhook based on the URL setup, based on the URL setup here, it will trigger. So here the URL we have given Jenkins URL. So what will do? It will go to this Jenkins and based on the project, it will trigger the field. It
Yeah.
will
Okay.
trigger
Actually,
the automation.
I'm still not convinced. Let me go through something, and then if still I have
So,
some doubts.
Ranjit,
Okay.
we are giving that Jenkins pipeline information and how the project is it is detecting.
How the project is? Sorry, one second. One second.
I mean, you provide that webhook in the webhook. When you are configuring the webhook, you provided the Jenkins URL there, right?
One second. I just provided the Jenkins URL. Yes. This one you're talking about?
So the now, yeah. So now, whenever there is a change which we are pushing in this particular code, this will go to this particular Jenkins instance accessible. It will just trigger the job, right? Is there any other configuration that we are doing?
Any other configurations?
Apart from this is enough, right? For that automatic, the pipeline section also, we have something. Hello.
No. So, Muthu, you mean to say like?
Hello, Ranjit.
Yeah, please tell me. I'm not getting your question. So, you just tell me again. Can you just 1 second? Let me just put my.
In the GitHub, this is the only action, right?
Yeah, Muthu, can you tell me? Hello.
Yeah, from the GitHub, this is the only change which we have to do for the enablement, right?
Yes, for webhook, for trigger, for GitHub trigger, or for webhook, you have to do only changes. These are the only changes you have to do, and that you have to specify the URL of the.
From the Jenkins side?
From Jenkins side, I showed you, right? Jenkins side, only the trigger options you have to click on. From Jenkins side, you have to only go to that project, go to the build trigger, and you have to select GitHub hook trigger. That's all. You have to select this one. You have to check this one. Of
So
that,
compared to Policium,
uh-huh.
this hook method is more optimized, right?
Yes,
Compared to the Policium, this is the optimized solution, right?
yes, this is the advanced optimized solution. This is what most of the company use. That there are different ways of triggering. That's why I was telling in my last class there are different ways of triggering the project. So this is what whenever I select it, right? I was telling this to Sasikala, and then I selected this option, right? Then I saved it. Just save it. This solution, what will happen? You don't have to wait for 1 minute. Suppose poll SCM is minimum 1 minute interval you have to set up. For others, you have to set up for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, based on the. I told you what is the difference between poll SCM and GitHub in our last classes, right? If you want the project to be built on the night 11 o'clock, or if you want to build the project only on Saturday or Sunday, then you can go for poll SCM. That's a different benefit of using poll SCM. And if you want immediately the developer wants to be built the project as soon as he changes the code, then you have to go for GitHub hook trigger. And frankly speaking, we don't use all these trigger options as a DevOps engineer. You have to just manually build it. Whenever you are doing testings and all, right, most of the time you have to manually build it to do the automations testing whether you are working, it is working or not. Whenever you hand over these things to the development team or deliver this to the development team, that time you have to set up this build trigger based on their requirement. If they say our build to be triggered only on particular date, then you have to set up poll SCM for them, leave it, then it will be triggered on particular time. And if they want that their project to be built as soon as they push it something to the GitHub, then you have to select this one. Okay.
Okay. So now, can you please go to the GitHub repo 1 minute, Ranjit?
Yeah.
GitHub, the repo itself.
Yes.
Yeah. In this repo, now we are in the master branch. So if you create one more dummy branch,
No, no.
consider you
Suppose,
create a test branch now.
yeah, Dev 1.1 branch. Yes. Suppose, yeah.
Yeah. If you create one feature branch like a dummy branch,
Mhm.
that will get all the configuration that we have configured, right? Including the Jenkins pipeline for this. Will it auto create?
Where it will auto create?
Okay. So now you are going, now we have multiple branches here, right?
Yes.
So you may want to test all the branches in the Jenkins, correct? It is not only the master you want to build always, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I understand that. That concept yet
Ah,
not yet covered. Okay, that is there in advanced part. I'll show you. That multi-branch concept is not yet covered. This is the only single branch
okay.
I'm showing you. The multi-branch concept is not yet covered. Okay. Multi-branch I'll show you one by one. I'll show you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
Ranjit, one point here. In the GitHub, we are doing this webhook configuration, right? We are providing only the Jenkins URL. We are not providing Jenkins URL's credentials. So, this is not a secured way, right?
Jenkins with credentials, right?
Yeah, Jenkins only URL we are providing, right? Are we providing even the Jenkins credentials also here?
No, no, we are not providing Jenkins credentials. See, we have options here.
Hmm.
No, sorry. No, there is no options. No, we don't have to provide any credentials here. Okay, we don't have to provide any credentials. It's not asking for any credentials.
Credentials. Even if it is HTTPS also, we are not providing any credentials. So without that itself, it will connect.
It will connect automatically because it doesn't have any options to
Oh,
provide. You can see it here, right? It does not have any options to
ah,
provide
okay,
the
okay,
credentials, right?
okay, okay.
It will automatically connect to the server.
Thank you.
But the thing,
Fine, okay.
it uses the GitHub API. It uses the GitHub API, and GitHub handles this based on the Git plugins you have set up on the Jenkins. These options you'll get
Jenkins
based
side.
on the GitHub
Okay,
options. It's based on the plugins installed on the GitHub, and you'll be thinking like how this particular branch will be triggered, how this particular branch and how this particular project will be triggered. See, when we set up this webhook, you will be seeing like these settings of this project. Every project will have different settings. Remember, every project will have different settings. As I have done the settings for this project, I have set up the webhooks for this project, then only this particular project will be triggered. Then you will be seeing that there will be multiple branches, then how that particular branches will be triggered. Then you have, you see, if you see it here, we have seen and set up the particular branch name over here, right? That means we have to read only particular single branch. So multi branches yet to be covered. I have not covered it yet. Okay, then once you do this setup, it will be automatically triggered. So I'm just going to clear out Sasikala's doubt. Okay, one second. Let me just open the GitHub documentations, whatever I have showed you, right? The GitHub documentations. One second. Like first class, Sasikala had missed first class, I think, where we had discussed about this webhook and all, right? Or it was in the second class. I think it was in the second class. So Sasikala, you're still having the
Yeah.
problem with the webhook. So what exactly? Can you just tell me what your concern is? What exactly you want to know? When
Okay, we have GitHub also, and we have Jenkins. Both we configure. Okay.
okay,
And now, uh, in GitHub, I'm doing all the development work, code building, branching, everything I'm doing. And then, for example, if I want to deploy, I'm using Jenkins.
mhm.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now, uh, what is the use of webhooks, which plays an intermediate role between GitHub and Jenkins? That's what I want to know clearly.
Okay. So anybody, Sarvana or Muthu or anybody can tell whatever this question and whatever she wants to know, if you understand clearly also.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
sorry,
What was the
I
question?
missed the question. Yeah. Sasikala, please repeat it.
Yeah, Saravanan, actually, till now we have
Hello.
covered. Yeah, can you hear me, Saravanan?
Yes, yes. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, till now we have configured GitHub and Jenkins separately. For example, if you are keeping it like that, using GitHub,
Correct.
I'm writing my code, doing pushing and everything. And the same is deployed on Jenkins
Yeah,
using
correct.
pipelines. Okay, so now I want to know what's the connection between GitHub and Jenkins established by use of webhooks. Why we need to go for webhooks? That's the my question, doubt here.
Okay, I go ahead with this first my answer. So, okay, you got that. Now our code is sitting in GitHub, and Jenkins is only for submitting the jobs. Correct. So those are two
Correct.
separate independent entity. Now what we
Correct.
are telling, now as a developer, it's in a closed environment. You may have the access to Jenkins, but in a typical companies like services company and other things, only certain team like a DevOps team have complete access to the Jenkins. So as a developer, you may be telling to that DevOps team, hey guys, I have completed some feature check-in or something. Can you please submit, trigger a job, trigger a build, and deploy it and check it is working or not. So in that kind of situation, if you configure that or the DevOps team helps you to configure the webhook, it means any change, like whenever you push any commit to GitHub, automatically it sends a trigger to the Jenkins that, hey, there is a trigger, there is a commit happened, there's a code merge happened. So automatically it trigger a job. So Jenkins will automatically trigger a build. And if the pipeline is also having the deployment, it will deploy. So you yourself can go and check in the UI. If consider that an example, in the UI you have put version 1.0 in the home page. You can directly refresh the home page and see that new version is deployed, and you can test your feature. You don't want to manually ping anyone and tell them that, hey, can you please deploy or anything. Now, can you understand that the link between the webhook, the importance? It establishes the connection and directly deploys it automatically. Hope you
Yeah,
got it
okay.
now.
Yeah, fine. I got it a clear picture now. And whose responsibility is to configure webhooks?
Yeah, it's a depends on the company, but mostly it falls into DevOps team.
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
It is the DevOps engineer who has to set up the webhook. Okay, so you have to set up the webhook and hand over to the developer team. Now, developer team, any changes is required, they will not disturb DevOps engineer to build the trigger. It will be automatically triggered, and the event will be triggered automatically by the webhook. Okay, that is what
Okay, fine.
the main way. Okay, let me just tell you the some definitions here. I had written in the GitHub. I had shown you, I think. Webhooks can be triggered whenever a variety of actions are performed on a repositories or on organizations, any kind of. So using the GitHub API, we can make these webhooks update an external issue tracker, trigger any CI builds. That is what we are doing, triggering the CI builds using the webhook. This is actually an API. This is an API from GitHub. Okay, once you set up these APIs and once you set up this webhook, you don't have to wait to build the jobs manually or anything. It will be automatically triggered if any changes to the repositories, whether a push event or a pull request or anything GitHub page is built or anything, it will be automatically triggered the CI build. Okay, that is the main purpose of using the webhook. Okay, now, so as the user had changes, sorry, developer has changes some codes here, and we are using this 1.8. We have just 1.8 versions, and the webhook, as it did not work, it's required. So I'm just manually building this project to show you this how it automatically deploying the code. Okay, CI/CD pack. So it is running currently. If I go and check the logs, building, and it is success. Okay, if I go here and refresh the page, it did not work. Okay, let me check whether the code was committed or not. $21 means I had updated, I think, right? 2.0. The version is 2.0, but our this one did not reflect it. Let me rebuild it. That's good point. Now we came to know. See, even though I just built the new versions, but still it is showing us 1.8. Okay, if I go to this website and check, 314 was last uploaded, right? CD, OPT, WebApps, sorry, Tomcat, WebApps. 346. What's the time now? 347. But it's not reflecting. Okay, good. Now, if I go here and go to the documentations here, web apps, and you can see it here, man. Sorry. Where is that? So what I'm going to do, I'm just here. I have to check out the workspace first. Why? Because it is just taking out the old DevOps web war file. Okay, it is not taking the new DevOps war file. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just clean out the workspace and check whether it is working or not. This is how we have to fix it. Okay, so our workspace is var leave Jenkins. Okay. This is the workspace, right? I'm just going here, cd var workspace. There are multiple workspaces out there. Okay, so let me delete this workspace. Now let me build it again and see whether it is getting the correct new parameter or not. Okay, so now the point is why it is not reflecting 1.8. We are building the new project, we are building the new version, but it is not deploying the new one. So we have to find it out why it is not even. So where need to check, we need to check it our code. Is there any problem with our code? Okay, so let's go there and check. So it is of pt tomcat archive artifacts. Go to word file. Let's restart the Tomcat server. Check. This normally it should not be the case, like you have to restart the server. It should be automatically come, but why it is not coming? I'm just checking. No, because the code is not delivered. Okay, okay, guys, it's already late. Let me find it out why it is like not updating the new versions, because the thing is we just built the new code, right? If I see the code, it's already the code is built to the new version 28 minutes ago, but it is getting built. However, it is not getting deployed to the new versions to the code, right? So need to find it out the reason for that. So okay, one more thing. What is the mistake, guys, I have done? Can you tell me? As a developer, I have done a mistake as a developer, not a DevOps engineer. The developer has done the mistake here. Okay, the code is not reflecting. It is the developer's mistake. Here I have updated the code in master branch, but our branch is getting built is dev 1.1. You understood where the problem is now. The developer has updated in the master branch, but the branch is getting built the dev 1.1. Here I'm scratching my head, but I'm not able to find it. When I seeing this one, why it is not everything? I check the possibility, everything is fine. But when I check this one, I'm getting built in master only updated. So I have to update in dev
So
1.1.
in this particular case, Ranjit,
Yeah, yeah,
there is an option. We can make sure that nobody can directly merge the code to the master, right? That
exactly.
restriction, we can add it.
Exactly. So that is the developer's restrictions you have to add into there. So nobody, obviously in the nobody, no one should update into the master. And in the branch, in the organizations, we never work directly in the branch. Even though by mistake you added, there is options like there is restrictions there, like Muthu or sorry, like Sarvanan told, you can add that one, restrict that one. Nobody can update it. Okay. So let me quickly change because we are running out of time. I'll just quickly change it and show you. Then waiver concept tomorrow. I'll just finish that lab tomorrow. Okay. I'll just quickly change something here.
Yeah, Ranjit, one more understanding also. As far I know, whatever this Docker file or Jenkins files, it should be on master branch only. It should not be on other branches.
No,
No, not that way.
not like
It
that.
should be it should be in an individual branch.
Yeah,
Then only we can build and develop everything. So
develop everything.
master should be, I mean, the dev branch and whatever branch, it should be just a Gitto copy of your master. It should have everything as master.
Yeah.
No, actually, I have done some open source package porting. In that case, I never did any CI/CD pipeline for the branch master. So that's why
Procedure. At in any typical development, the work should happen only in the individual branches, and the individual branches should work separately as is without master. If you take an example, in my current project, I don't have master itself. We don't use master.
no, actually, what you're saying is correct. But see, whatever okay, in terms of Git itself, what I have done is I have taken all the tags, okay, or the latest tags, and I have did all the changes like any source code fixes or test code fixes, and I built it. But after building, it's been merged to the master again, and then the master is pushed to Travis CA. In my case, it is Travis CA.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very sure that the pipelines don't have any other branches apart from master.
No, that's what
No.
I'm saying. In pipeline, master itself is an optional. Without master, you can work. That's the point.
So Sashikala, for you, see, as Sarvanan told, right, or Muthu told, sorry. So you have not to worry about the master branch or any branch. Wherever you want, suppose you appointed to the project newly, and you have to first check out from the master branch. Okay, either the master branch will have the Jenkins file, or it may or may not have the Jenkins file. As you newly appointed and you have to write the automations for that, you have to add the Jenkins file in the new branch you created. Okay, then you have to use that branch for your automations for your build. After build is success and branch is done, you can merge that branch to master. Now your master will be operating
Okay.
with your branch. That's okay, right?
Correct.
Understood. That
Yeah.
is how the
Yeah.
company works. Okay, now the point, maybe you may be asking where you have to add this Jenkins file and Docker file. Remember the project's main folder. Okay, the first folder itself, the project folder itself, you have to add this Jenkins file and Docker file, whatever you want to add, you have to add it here, not into the any subfolder and all. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I followed.
Yeah,
And even in my corporate also, yeah, for Muthu, even in a DB porting team also, we have a code line called main
main.
in ADE. Yeah, the main line only responsible for all fixes. Even if it's a branch-wise fix, for example, you must be knowing a DB having six platforms. So if I'm fixing any specific code on ZLNX or AX or Solaris Spark, whatever it is, that specific fix must be merged to main branch.
Uh,
Then
Okay, guys, I'm getting
yes, please.
late. 9:30. I have one actually interview scheduled. I have to drop down now. Go for the, I have to take interview. There is some I'm at the interview panel actually, so I'm getting late for that. So
Okay.
maybe we can discuss on tomorrow's class. Okay, all these whatever things are pending, and we'll discuss it tomorrow same time 7 o'clock. We'll connect. Okay?
Okay,
And
fine.
Ranjit, if
Thank
you
you.
don't mind, please share us those entry questions also, so that when we prepare also it will be useful. If you
Definitely,
don't mind.
definitely. Once it is over, I'll share everything. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Ranjit, the document which you had, the installation document, could you please
Uh,
place it in the WhatsApp channel?
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. After maybe after 11 or 12 o'clock, I'll do that. Okay. Once my interview is finished, I'll just check it.
Yeah, your laptop is also running.